Okay. Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to the weekly Noyantis User Group Meeting. Today is 9th of April 2018. As always, if anybody has any questions or ideas, problems, by all means, raise your hands. We'll get the microphones open, and we'll cover the subjects. So I know we've got a couple of questions which have come in via remotely. But prior to going into those, we'll give everyone a few minutes just to make sure to see if they've got any questions that they want to cover. So made it on, brilliant. Okay, so that was just one of the attendees. So basically, quick updates. Couple of updates are still pending. Apologies for the delay. Going through a very busy period at the moment, which is, of course, good for the business, but it does mean we are a little busy. And also, I must point out the next two webinars they won't be able to attend because I'm actually going on vacation. I go this Friday and I return on Monday the 23rd, but I won't be back in time for the actual the webinar. So next Monday the 16th and Monday the 23rd, we won't be here for the webinars. So sorry about that. Okay, so we've got a couple of updates pending. One is the report control, which we've mentioned a couple of times and so on, and that's got some new enhancements to the track bar facility and a couple of fixes. And one is to the Chilkat wrapper. Now that's constantly being updated by basically each week, each webinar. We've always got another update. One of the things it's the new update will have is more integration with QuickBooks. And that's one of our questions today. Actually, somebody just wants taking through the steps for QuickBooks. So basically, we've got that. And one other point which one of the users mentioned was they have a particular scenario where they are sending SMS via the Chilkat wrapper template. The other update in that next release is the Chilkat supports Plivo SMS gateway. So that's being added and tested and so on and so forth, and all that works just as any of the others. So now I think you've got, if we take a quick look at the actual example. Let's just take a quick look here. Now this is going to actually reveal some keys, which I don't want people to see. No. So maybe we'll just hang fire. But basically we support Boom SMS, Bulk SMS, COM API, which used to be, I think it was called Dynalink or something like that. COM API, Plivo, and Twilio. So basically you just set the gateway and call the method send SMS, and off it will go and send them accordingly. So that's quite nice. But it was pointed out one of the users was basically using the particular product and on one thread, then they were closing the thread, and then they wanted to check the status of messages afterwards, but via a different thread. And of course, you would have basically closed the connection, and it would have released any memory it was using, including the list of messages that it's just sent. So now basically we're going to give you extra facilities to be able to interrogate the message you've just sent. So you'll get the ID, you'll get a group. Basically it will populate a group, a sent group for you. So you'll be able to, upon sending a message, not just get a true or false back, but you'll also have a sent group populated with all the particular information back from the provider. So if it was Twilio, you would have an account SID with the potential costs and the rate and how many messages and so on and so forth. Sorry, how many segments. So that will be in your next update, and that will be released this week prior to me going on vacation. If anything, it will be released tomorrow. That's that. Again, prior to going into questions, so if you've got questions, feel free to type them in and we'll get going on them. But I thought I would just cover one subject which somebody had asked me to look into. And basically in their application, they wanted to come up with add some kind of dashboard. Now, of course, these are very popular in various applications now, and the idea is that you get one kind of snapshot. So you could, as your system starts up, maybe from a managerial point of view, you could see straight away a snapshot of various elements of data, maybe sales to date and how many support calls you've got outstanding and other tasks you've got to do and so on. Rather than running reports or going into various screens, the idea is you get one snapshot. Now, obviously, I've wanted to, they asked me to look at it using our products and so on and so forth. So I put a particular example together, and I'm going to be releasing this. I want to tidy up the data and make the data more meaningful. So this is very much a proof of concept. Didn't actually take me that long to knock together, if you want the truth. So, but basically the idea is, you can see from this that it opens up. We could have some kind of holding page. I've just put a logo page there for now as a default entry point, if you will. And then they have the various different options. So these are the different dashboards. So I've got like a customer dashboard, a product dashboard. I think that's a display ledger analysis. I forget what that one is. Sales and purchases. And we've allowed so you can fold out and have basically store options against the overall running application itself. Of course, remember this is just proof of concept, but it's easily achievable. So, for example, for the customers, and of course you can see there we're using the docking pane, so the options could stay out and people could go and change safe formats for the actual charts, and what folder they want to go in, or printer for printing and so on and so forth. But yes, we've got the basically different charts. We could have the data so they could actually select different date ranges, which of course would then rework the data in the charts. This will all be basically, I'll come up with some meaningful data prior to releasing this as an example application. But yes, basically the idea being that you could let them have selections, so on and so forth. All of these are zoomable and doing docking panes. Now I've turned off the docking of this, but there'd be nothing stopping you letting the user rearrange these. Of course, they can resize them as you would expect. So maybe they would only want one date selection and look at the data like so. And we'll add in the example, we'll add the save and restore for these sizes and positions and so on and so forth. So there's a proof of concept for it. And as I say, charts are zoomable as you would expect in the charting. And one nice other option I put in, basically on this one, it's taken blatantly from our charting example, as you can see. But what I did is something different. You've got this is based upon queues of data. So you would do your analysis and maybe come up with one particular queue of data which you want to look at, and this is just calling basically a thing to regenerate the data. But we can see here that the quoted hours is 41, then the hourly is 45, and the unbillable is -1. I'm not quite sure how you get -1, but it's random data. But what I added here is if we double click on 41, it will take you to the actual core data, again presented in a report control rather than a Clarion list, all coming from one central data source. And the intention here is to allow the user to maybe do different grouping and do filtering, switch back to the chart, and the chart would reflect the updated basically data. So if you've got a whole host of data within here, and the user goes in and says, I only want the ones for, well, let's say we only want Sam. Then when you go back to the chart, you should only get basically one lot of figures through here. So that's the idea. Again, this for the customer was only a proof of concept, but it was just showing what can be done. If I was to click on, let's just go back to that and get rid of the filter. So we can see that's 41, 47, which they are 41, 47, and so on. If I double click on this one, of course, it's going to take you to the data that is for that particular point, which is hourly. If I double click over here for the unbillable, and there's the unbillable. So just giving you different ideas of what can be achieved with the actual with the products, and that will be, like I say, put together with more meaningful data, and I will release it as a demo application with the source, of course, for everybody who's got the products. The other examples are just showing mixed types of data, but I will be wanting to put other particular elements in here. So, like you can see, we've brought a date picker into it to control maybe data here with a report control. We will want HTML views of data, and we'll have some XAML markup examples just to show maybe like a larger count. So if you've got a large number of outstanding invoices with an overall total, so your debtors are quite large, you could show that as a, give focus to that as a prominence when you first go into the system. So that's just an idea of what's achievable and what's going to come up, which you'll be able to download as an example application with source code as well. Okay, any questions or any ideas or feedback? Okie dokie. So we've got some questions on emails and a question to do with QuickBooks. Now, the question, the QuickBooks one was came first, so I'm going to cover that, and then we're going to go through some. We've got some questions on the report control. So now the questions was from Bill. So Bill, you got a microphone open?
I'm here, Andy.
Okay, so basically you want to know the steps for the QuickBooks integration, is that correct?
Correct.
Right, no problem.
Yeah, I was trying to open my account here to see that I'd set up, and I can't figure. I tried one that wasn't the right one. I was just going to try the second one. And,
okay, it's no problem. So we'll cover them. We'll cover the steps. Basically, they're going to be the same steps that we actually did on the Friday webinar probably 2-3 weeks ago, when we actually covered some of the quick steps. But it doesn't do any harm to cover it here, and of course you'll have the recording as well. So that's always good. So I will just run the example application and take you through some of the basics. I'll just bring this onto the other screen. So yeah, that's okay. So making sure no particular data was being revealed there. Okay. So basically, this is a QuickBooks integration using the Chilkat wrapper. Now, what you've got, and I'll just open it up here, I'll log in on the other screen. The very first thing you'll need is an account with the developer part of QuickBooks. So just going to open it on the other window, and I'll show you what we do. Okay, so what you do is you'll create via Intuit Developer. You'll create an account with them. Then you'll create an app. Okay, so they want you to be able to basically create an app, give it certain, they'll provide you criteria to be able to talk to their data and so on, and even a sandbox environment. So we'll do that. So we'll create a new app. Actually, we'll use this one. I think it's perfectly fine. Okay, so once you create an app, they'll give you some basic entry point for it. The main things you're interested in, so if we jump straight forward, is they will provide you some keys. Okay, so I can rotate these afterwards, but basically this is a client ID and a client secret, and this will give you access to development keys. So you will have sandbox companies. I think that's just got, there's actually 3, Sandbox 1, 2 and 3, US 1, UK 2, UK 3. And you can create different sandbox companies as well, and so on and so forth. So you will need these 2 elements to start with: client ID, client secret. As well as that, when you authenticate your application in QuickBooks, they will want you, if you saw a minute ago up at the top, that you have to now use OAuth 2 and OpenID. Basically, OAuth 2 is the thing that we're interested in. And what that means is once you have requested authority to be able to get to your account, it will pop up a window. You log in, say yes, that's fine. You've got the authority to be able to talk to this data and so on and so forth. Then it will redirect you back to what it wants is a web page. Now we have got a workaround for that. If you're in Sandbox, you can redirect to localhost. Now remember, we're writing desktop applications, so you've only really got localhost available to you. Okay, so but when you go into a production environment, you will need to go to a secure web page. So we've got a workaround for that. And you can do that by basically having a little script on a web page with an SSL certificate, which does nothing more than redirect the content back to your desktop application. So take a step back. We create an app. We get developer keys. It's created a data for us as a company for us, brilliant, and then it automatically adds that URL to basically as a default redirect URL. And the reason it does that is one of the things that they will provide to you. Just let me go back one. Oh, no need to. Sorry, it was up there. Is up here you can go to the API Explorer, and if we open that, it will actually allow you to query the data and take a look at the actual QuickBooks data via their interface, if you will. So, and it does that. Let me just make sure we use a test company. We take a look and we go down to customer and we say, right, we want to query the customer data, and the query would be a select star from customer. What it's actually doing is if I say try that, it's brought the data back underneath. We've got a successful response and so on. The reason that is working is, bear in mind that I've already just logged in, is it's giving itself this default redirect URL. So that's how that's working. For us in our applications, you will need if you're just in the sandbox mode, you'll need a URL something like that, and if you're in production mode, you will want basically a HTTPS. You will have to have a HTTPS. Just let me just bring this off, make sure there's nothing on this one. Yeah, it's okay. It doesn't reveal them by default, so that's good. So how does that affect our app? So let's take a quick look at our app. We have a client ID, we've got that. We've got a secret, we've got that. And we have a redirect URL. Now, we have one hosted on our server. It's HTTPS, Noyantis.com, OAuth2.php. The content of which is very simple, really simple. It literally just, well, let's actually take a look. Yeah, basically that's just worked because it's just tried redirecting us. Let me open it a different way so I can quickly show you how what it looks like. Okay, that's the actual script. It's literally just a redirect to say redirect to localhost and the port number, because you will need a port number. So let me just take that out of the way. Basically, remember your application is sat there. It will basically sit there as a local host will start waiting for data. And of course, any number of different things could be using localhost. So you want to use your application to use a port on that. So basically, we're going to say 3017. You could choose something different. Could choose any number you like, and all you'll do is have your script point back to that. If you're using ours, then you would have to use a 3017, which you're welcome to. Obviously, full time, with your own application, chances are you'll want to put your own little redirect script on your own web server, which I would of course encourage. But just for testing and so on, you're more than welcome to bounce off our server. Got no problem on that. So I've got our client ID. Let's just take a recap. Pull that over there. This might be using the code of one of the others, but it's the same thing. You would have a client ID, you would have a secret, which when you created your app within the developer of Intuit, it would give you those. You have a redirect, and I suggest you might as well go off the one which you're going to use for the production keys anyway. We're going to tell it sandbox mode, and the only reason we specify that is internally to the class, it will actually calculate two different sets of URLs to go and get the data from. This is as per QuickBooks. Basically, they give you two different URLs to get the data from. So you can see here, for accounting, it would be sandbox.-QuickBooks API, and production is something different. But you don't have to worry about that. Just tick that, call the method in your application, and that will calculate the correct URLs to use. So we have set our redirect, we've added it to the valid redirects in here, and we've said which port we're going to listen for the answer on. All automatic, of course. From that, we can then do a quick test. We do a connect on my other window, so let me just quickly bring that into play. It's asking me to log in, so I will log in. Okay, which company am I giving authority to? So I'll say, okay, you can go and access that company. Hit the connect. Thank you. We've been granted. Brilliant. Thank you very much. We'll close that because we don't need it. And you'll see now that was listening on 3017. The data got bounced back to 3017, and we've got a connection. And we can prove it. Then we can say, okay, well, let's have a look. Run me that query, and we've got answers back. Or in the examples, download some accounts, and you should be able to read the accounts. And same with customers. So that's the basic test you'll want to do, just to establish you've got the first steps. So basically, quick recap: add an app. It will automatically give you this and at least one test company, and it will give you that URL, the developer Intuit URL as the default. Add your own, or for testing, welcome to use ours. Have that, add it as a valid URL in the actual developer environment, and hit the save button. And then basically just try and do with the credentials you've been given, try and hit the connect and one of the downloads. If you're unsure of which queries to go and issue, use these predefined ones. So that will go and redefine it, will download the accounting, basically the general ledger. That will download the customers. Yeah, and so on. So that's your first step. And when you've got that step going, which is half the battle, then it will want you basically to come to create your production keys. Now, there's extra checks you've got to do before you can get production keys. It's the same things. You will get a client ID, you will get a client secret, and you will go and specify basically which valid URLs you're going to go and basically listen for the answer on, the redirect, if you will. This has to be, as it says here, it has to be HTTPS, but that's fine as long as you've got something to bounce it off with a an SSL certificate, then you'll be fine. These are the URLs, but the class will do it for you. So the set sandbox mode true or false will switch between the valid URL, so you don't have to worry about any of that. But in order to be able to get your production keys, you will have to go back to your account. It will want you to validate your account settings, so it'll want to know what name and address you are and so on and so forth and things like that. It will want the app to have a name, and it will want a couple of URLs to say what basically your terms of service and your privacy policy are. You specify which countries you accept the connections from, and I think there's another one here. Yeah, leave that one off. Do you support Intuit single sign-on? And we'll just say no to that. I think that's really it. There's a couple of some domains here that I've just put our main domain in. In fact, you can see on my end user license and the privacy policy, I've used the ones from our website because they are perfectly valid. So
now, Andy.
Yeah.
Excuse me. If we're in the U.S. and we're going to use your bounce off from your server for testing,
Yep.
Would we have to check United Kingdom and United States?
Oh, good point. Do you know what? I think I would, just be on the safe side. It's not something I've tested. That's a very good question, that, Bill. It's not something I've tested because I've just gone here.
I'll check them both anyway, but I think
just be on the safe side.
Till I get my own server set up for that.
Yeah. And any problems, and again, this goes for, on the webinar and so on, any problems, someone say, oh, can you just show me that script again and so on and so forth? Absolutely no problem, but it's literally just nothing more than a redirect. I've done it with a little PHP script. If you're on a Linux server, you could put it as part of a .htaccess file. I forget how you do it on a Windows server, but they are very, very simple. And it's literally nothing more than take the data coming in along with the parameters and redirect it, which is basically an error code 301. It's not an error code, it's a return code, really, a response code. A response code 301, which is basically take the data and redirect it to here, please. And the here wants to be localhost. So, and that will get you around it. So to recap on getting the production keys, you'll have to validate your account, and that is just put in your name and address and the usual telephone numbers, that type of thing, usual stuff to say, you can create a developer account with the very minimal information. So it'll just want you to put more information on and so on and so forth in your profile. And then for this application, where are you going, basically? What's the name? What are these agreement URL and the policy, privacy policy, which countries to get the data from, leave the single sign-on off, and the domains for the host and production, which are pretty, there's nothing else in the other things, it's just the domain I've put in. Obviously it should be valid, but that's really it. Once you've done that, you go back to your application keys, and you will then see your keys are available to you, and you'll be good to go.
But I guess this is what's got me confused. Is when I get ready to set up a customer out in the field somewhere, and we're going to be generating keys for him only.
Yeah, sorry.
Is there a special way to do that?
When you're out in the field for the customer will have to. They'll have to have their own account, Intuit developer account. Okay, because
so I could set up a developer account on their computer and do it just like this. I got it now. Yeah. Now I see it.
Yeah, because basically what you're doing. So you see here. Now I've got my login and so on and so forth, and I've got my developer details, and it's saying which sandbox company do you want to go and play with, so to speak, and that's great. That's that. When you come to get into your production keys, then all of a sudden, then you're talking to two live companies, and so on. So he would need to, or he or she, they would need their own account, developer account, and they're going to give authority to their particular company's data.
Right.
So
That's what I was trying to figure out. I didn't know if there was a way that just to set them up, but have this drop list be, Bill's company, Andy's company, Sam's company, and all that.
You wouldn't be able to. You basically, if you've got 5 customers wanting this, you'd probably repeat this 5 times.
I got you.
Each
okay.
One of the customers who's using this live and quite happily, touch wood, that's good. They basically needed to be able to do this, so they had to speak to their client. Obviously, the client had to create this. They give them a walkthrough and so on, but the client had to create this and give them access. So they give them the keys to be able to do it and so on and so forth. But the client was the driving force behind it, which it's their data, their company data at the end of the day. So it kind of makes sense that they're the ones who have to do that, even though in reality it'll be yourself who's doing it for them. But they should be the driving force behind it.
Okay, well, that's the part that had me confused right there. So I think we can. I just have to set that up on, on their system, and that'll work.
Cool. Okay, so are we okay with that? I'll just bring this off, and I'll cycle the keys. So for the point of the recording, they're now dead. So, but yes, basically that's the interface to it. One quick one to check on this is, once you're doing particular data, you'll bring this data down. So let's check we can still bring the data down here. Yep. And we'll go down to the Noyantis company. You can see I've done some tests here, and it will bring down various bits of information, and it populates a group for you. So the data, just like it would look up in QuickBooks, you've got to populate a group local to you with it. You'll get an ID, which is basically like a record ID, if you will. You'll also get a sync token. It's important that, because if I was to go and want to do a change, so let's just put a Noyantis 2 on the end, and I go and save that, then what it's actually done is it's done the save, and it will tell you true or false if it's successful, and then it will return you an updated group structure of that particular record. And I just go and put this back in the queue. Then the sync token has gone up, incremented by 1. If I was to try and go and, if I had an old copy of that record which still had 26 stored against it, and I tried to go and update a second time but use the sync token 26, it would fail it, because it's an old token. The latest is 27. It expects it to be 27. The reason it does that is, of course, it's web-based. Any number of different people could be changing this data at any one time. So they want to ensure that you are changing the latest version of that particular data. If you're inserting, you're fine. You wouldn't actually specify it. But for an update point of view, you would need to ensure that. So there is a method called to go and get the very latest version. So you can just go and get that, and that will make sure it's there. So for example, let's just go back to here. We're on UK2, I think it was. I'll bring this back into play here. This is the Sandbox company. So if I go to customers, and there's Noyantis 2, as we can see. I'm going to go and change this now. And I'm going to change it to Noyantis 2.E for external. Okay, now it's 2.E. So if I was to go and change this now and attempt to change it to 3, it should fail. Update failed. Would have expected to give you a message back, but it has failed, and that's exactly what I would expect, because we changed it online, which meant that sync token is really 28. So if I go and reselect as 28, now go and do the change and put it back, and it's gone to 29. So basically, if you're going to do any updates, just refetch the record, just like you would if it was a table in your database. Refetch the record, do the update, and save it back, and you'll be fine at that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Got a couple of other questions. So if we're good on QuickBooks, we shall move on. Is that okay?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Andy. That my main thing was that whole getting the keys. So
yep.
And we got a good recording of that now. So
yeah, no problem.
Well, I will have when you upload it, right?
Yes. Oh, I'll do it straight after this. That's not a problem. Again, I'm here in the office until close of play Thursday. So. And then I'm away for vacation for, like I say, 10 days. So any problems, I encourage you to try and do it sooner rather than later, obviously. So I'm here to answer.
Yeah, I've got to log in and do something with this guy today or tomorrow. So.
Oh, it's perfect then. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we've got another question, and it's on the report control. So it's let's open up the mic. So, Leo. Oh, hello, Leo.
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Okay, so you've got some questions on the report control, correct?
Yes.
Right. I know I've got a couple of emails through. Apologies, I've been basically just inundated, so we're just playing catch up on a lot of stuff at the moment. But let me just set up the example here. Can we replicate your question in the example application?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. All right. 1 second then. User groups. Just setting up a folder so we can take a look. So. We'll close this. Okay, so that's just opening now. So what's the question? It's related to, is it editing?
The first question is how to input the decimal value in AP mode.
Okay, just
for example, 1.5.
Okay, in editing place mode.
Yes. And what type of field may I choose? Or real or decimal or what?
Well, the data can be basically any value at the back end. It's really up to yourself.
But backend is not problem. Problem is in the manual loaded mode.
Right. Okay. Let's get this and compiling, then we'll take a look.
Okay.
Okay. So you say, was it under here, manually loaded?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got edit in place.
Yes.
We've got a size. Okay, so unacceptable. Only you can only type a number in here. Well, that might be because. Let's go to size. So edit in place. Oh, sorry, I think that was the wrong procedure. Yeah, that was an enhancer.
Standard.
So it was on the size, if I remember rightly, columns size. So okay, I've defined the column and gone to the content, numeric column characters only. Does seem like the decimal point is a bit of a glaring omission there actually on that. So we're going to have to take a quick look at what their information says on it. So just let me take a look at this 1 second. I've just got the class open on the other screen, if you're wondering. So just trying to find what the setting is, what's being called. So okay, I found that. So it's the data type. We selected numeric characters only 2. So it's the edit style that we're going to do. Okay. So we're going to go to basically report control. We go on its columns. Can't see if we're looking here. Column. And under there we should have edit options, which we do there. And then we've got, under that, we've got the control style, which is where we can control, get set the text format for the item. No, that's the alignment. So basically, allow only digits to be entered into the edit control. Note that even with this set, it's still possible to paste non-digits. Well, that's what we're setting for the numeric. So it seems that they're not really expecting it. Can I just try an experiment here? So on here, you can't paste in. Basically, yeah, it's
This is winner.
sorry about that. Yes, it's not letting that. I think that what you'd have to do is you're going to have to define it as just to take that validation off rather than just numeric, which does seem a bit of an overkill. But basically, that is as per their setting. I'll just quickly check the equates to make sure, because in that mode we are adding a value to the edit of edits that we're looking for. That we're adding 8192. That's correct, yeah. We add that equate to it, which is number. So it does seem, you would have to speak to CodeJob themselves, but it does seem if you say numeric for the edit style, it doesn't allow you to put a decimal point in there.
Okay, if I defined alphanumeric.
Well, I wouldn't do the alphanumeric. I'd probably just take that off and just go with default, to be honest. So edit in place now. I have 1.5. It's doing rounding. I don't think that's me neither. Let me have a look at the definition of this. Left. This is just a manual. I'm a bit stumped. I think this is one we're going to have to actually ask CodeJob and say, how do I get a standard 1.5 in there and store 1.5? Because we're just going with basically default, which means we're not applying any kind of pictures to it and so on and so forth. We're not doing any rounding. I mean, what we will just do is, just to prove it, we'll have a new one. We'll call it decimal. Yes, it can be editable, and we'll have it towards the end there. That's very, very plain, not overriding any default settings. Okay. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Must be one of the settings on the other. I'd have to have a look at what the settings are then. So basically that was a new column I've just added, and I said, okay, it's just general data.
Okay, very fine.
So just to show you what that was, just added, I called it decimal. It could have been called anything, of course. Just said allow editable. So of course we got the edit in place on it. Default data, no drop, no in-place buttons, no anything. Let's have a look at how that compares to this one. Visible data, yeah. Default, 0. They look the same. I don't know if there's any coding.
Yes, I do some experiment and I find out if it's once place 0 to the field, you the program then round it. If you don't use 0, then program allowed put the.
Okay, so so if you put a 0 in by default?
But you now don't set of type of this field in add row procedure.
Okay, so
You see now?
I do, yes. Okay.
But
I wonder. I can check that at my side to see if that's anything which I'm doing. I'm not aware of it, but I will check. So delete. No, it's not that.
Andy,
Yes.
interesting is if you use set value procedure, the decimal value are appear in the report control. If you pass via add row, you can see the decimal. But if in the same cell using set value, then you get the decimal.
It's as though it's taken on the shape of that data. I will have to do some more digging. Let me put my notes.
Please.
Yes, no problem. I'm just going to do here now. Okay, so report control. Yep, decimal infield. Yep. Okay, yeah, I've got a note of that. I will. I'll basically. I'll get as many of these things tidied up this week before the vacation. I'll get as many of these things tidied up.
Okay. I have two more questions.
Yes, of course. Yep.
One is how can I reject enter to value in the some field? For example, I want to control one column against some table or something else, and user put wrong value. How can I clear this value?
So you want to clear a particular value?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to raise wrong value from the field, from the cell of report control.
Okay, so
I put the message wrong value and then clear this cell.
Okay, so let's say, for example, if we put and we'll just do it. If they enter 99 here, we want to put a message up and we want to clear it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That will be great.
Okay, so let's take a look at that. So it's the size we're going to. And normally, of course, you can put 99. So, but we're going to say if you put 99, value too large, and we want to clear it. Okay.
Exactly.
That's fine. So we would want to, let's have a look at our embed points. And we would probably want, now let me take a look myself. Row cell, row accepted.
Row updating.
Yeah,
Row updating.
yeah, we've got that. I was going to see if we could do it at a particular cell level. Oh, that should give it us though, because we should be able to see which row we're on, which column, and which value. So we could say in here. So let's do our check. So we can say, okay, we'll do a quick message to know what's coming through. So just so we know, so we'll have param row. We'll need that row, you see. The column.
New value.
And new value, yeah. Okay, if column equals, and we said it was size,
Yes.
and param new value is, let's say, greater than 80. We're going to do our message.
Yes. This is work correctly, no problem.
So set row cell. We're going to do the caption. We'll do both. Basically, each cell, and I'll explain what this is in a second. We'll do the caption for one particular row, for one particular column, and the value. And we're just going to say nothing or 0. Now, each row, each cell, I should say, sorry, can have a caption and a value. And I'll explain what the difference is. And I think there might be a better way of trapping this, but we'll take a quick look at this first. Don't know why my compiles are taking so long. Okay, so into here, into size. So make sure it still works. We'll go 50. 003, size 50.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yes.
Now we'll go 99. Value too large. And 0. Okay.
Super.
Now,
Super.
what we've got, I said basically a row cell is basically this. So it's coming down to this individual item here. So we've got a row, we've got a column. So we've got the row, James Howlett, we've got the column size, and the cell is the individual cell. Each cell can have 2 values. A caption, which is what you visually see on the screen, and a value. If you don't set the value, but you set the caption, then the value will automatically be set to the same as the caption. But if you have the ability to set them differently, and a very good example of that would be dates. You would want the value to be a Clarion date so that it is sortable. But you would want the caption to be the formatted date, so it looked like the 1st of January 2018 or the 14th of February 2018, that type of thing. But from a value point of view, you would want the raw Clarion date so that the records appeared sortable in the correct order.
Okay.
That okay?
Yes.
So we'll just take the messages out.
The problem.
I was wondering, actually, if we could trap it rather than updating. Because if we take a quick look at that embed point, updating. Just take a quick look. Just got an idea which might work better for you. Oh no, no, it doesn't. I was wondering whether I could block it at that time, but no. Let's stick with what you've got for now. So we'll take the message out,
Okay.
and obviously that one as well. And then we'll see it in action, which is better. Okay, so into here, edit in place, and 60 should be fine, but 99.
Okay.
Well, we took both messages out. Sorry, I meant to keep one in, but yes, it's cleared it.
Okay.
Okay, and you said there was one other question.
Yes. There is again on the AIP mode and using inline button.
Okay, so something like not that. Well, let's say you wanted a button in here. So
Yes.
okay, that's no problem. So we go on to the extension.
Okay.
We select the column, and we'll have it on the subject.
Okay.
And now where is it? I think it's across on. Oh no.
No, in enter mode, yeah, options. Options.
Oh, it'll be in here. Sorry, data. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Inline button. So we'll add two buttons. Let's say we'll have button 1. We want it outside of the cell. You can have it from visually, whether you want it to appear inside the actual cell, or do you want to keep the width of the data in the cell the same and have it on the outside? We'll have it on the outside.
Okay.
And we'll just give it a very small icon. Let's just choose a Clarion. There you go. We'll have Clarion icon for button 1. I'm not sure that icon is resizable actually. And we'll have button 2 NYS.icon. Now, if we want to do something when they're clicked, we should have. Let me just do a search for it. It's InPlace button. No. Oh, it's just button then. Sorry, I thought it was InPlace button, and it will tell you the ID of the button on which row, on which column. Because of course you could have many. So we'll just message that out. In fact, no, we won't. Yes, we will. Just to see so you can see it in action. And then what I was going to do is something along the lines of case the button 1 will set row cell caption for the row. There it is. For the column, and we're going to set it to Clarion. And of button 2, we'll set it to Noyantis. Okay. I haven't a clue why my machine is taking so long to build. We've had this a couple of times in the past where we've GoToWebinar, Okay, so we'll go to here, and I've got a couple of icons, and I'll type in ABC, and that's great. Then I'll jump. I want it to be Noyantis. I think you wanted a populate. I'll probably do a populate actually. So let's just do that again. So if I was to do that and say Clarion, let's get rid of the message because it's not really needed. And I would do, yes.
My question is this. I said all this, but I put on the bottom, I call the procedure, for example, calendar.
Okay.
I pick up some value in this procedure, and then when a procedure was returned to the code, the button was not closed. I must click somewhere else that button has closed.
Okay, I get you. Okay, so let's do something like that. Right, okay. Will be a second. What version is that using? Usually use 16.4 for the calendars, that's okay. So, going to have a new procedure very quickly. I mean, you could actually just, we could do this a lot easier. I'm just going to do a very, very crude example here.
Okay.
So, we're going to prompt for a date, and I will actually just quickly put a date lookup on there. So you could actually call the date lookup directly in reality, but I'm just going to do it very crudely. Lookup single, put it to that date. That's really it. That's really it. And then we'll have an OK, and we'll have a close. Again, I'd probably, in reality, you just call the actual lookup itself straight away, but God, that window looks horrendous. And if they did do that, we'll have a return value. Okay. So we want our edit in place.
Yes.
Go to our embed. So if they call button 1, we'll just say okay.
Okay.
So if they press it, it's going to set the caption to, oops, it's going to, let's actually just format that. Okay. Okay, right. Edit in place. So what I want to just check is if you press Noyantis, oh, the Windows and MDI. Not that Windows, sorry. I did select MDI when I did it. Let's turn that off. Oops. I would have thought that would have actually just. There's our date. Something like that.
Okay. Can you open again this embedded point?
Of course. Oh, not that one. I can send you this example application zipped up if you like.
Please.
Yeah, but it's carrying 10.
Oh, it will be a problem. I have Clarion 9.
Ah, okay. I'll leave this on the screen then. So that's what you want.
Okay. I grab the screen. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Is that the report control?
Yes. Thank you very much.
No problem. And again, do apologise for the delay. We are just playing some catch
No
up.
problem. Please dig it for this decimal value if you can.
I've got it literally. If you can hear now, that's it at the side of me. I will take a look. I don't know. We behind the scenes do some tricks where we have a look at the deformat of one against the deformat of another. So I did just then, when you first reported it during the webinar, I had a quick look to see if we was doing a deformat on the value and comparing them to try and get a leading zero, but I can't see we're doing that. So I'm going to have to try and prove, is it something we're doing or is it the control? And but I will have a look tomorrow for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank
No
you so
problem.
much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so now we've got a couple of questions on sticking with the report control, and it's Antonio. So you are here somewhere. Yeah, there you go. Hi, Antonio. Do you have a microphone?
Yes. Hello, Andy.
Hi. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Very good. So I know you've got a couple of questions, and one was related to the report control. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. I was just wondering about the headers because they're all uppercase, and I was wondering if I could get rid of that, just to make them look like the way I type them.
What theme setting are you using? What theme file?
I think it's Visual Studio or something.
Okay, the reason I asked that is if we run this one, you'll see, let's just open the edit in place one. And there we have from, subject, priority, all in mixed case.
Right.
Now, if I just change the theme, so I won't change any code, of course, I'll just change the theme and I'll say, we want to use Office 2013.
Okay.
So we will do that and just compile and run, and it will change it to uppercase. Or I hope it does, and that's because the theme files are basically by default adhere to the Office UI settings, if you will, style, and Office 2013 and Office 2016 force capitals for all the kind of headers and captions.
Okay.
Now you can override it, if I remember rightly. Let me just.
I can.
I think you can. I'll just do a quick search for a blanket search for uppercase, and I'm sure there's a setting. No, not edit markup. I don't know. I could have swore in one of the settings I'd seen where you can, from a theme point of view, you can turn off the uppercase setting, and now it's going to prove me wrong. So we'll do it a different way. Let's just see that same one, edit in place, and there they go. They're all capitalized, even though we didn't change anything.
Right.
Okay, so it's a style that's doing it, but if we just open up and we'll just go to, it might come under the Paint Manager. So we'll take a look here. Report Control, Paint Manager, caption font. No. Use uppercase captions.
No.
So now we will do a programming change. We'll go back to this editing place. We'll stick with this. I'm going to use the embed point init complete. I'm going to do self, because I'm in that thing, set paint manager property. Use that. I'm going to say false. So let's see if that makes a difference for us. And while we're doing that, we'll look at that. What does that say about it? Report control. Oh, it's just a read-write property. It's not really giving us much of a description. Okay, I would have hoped for a little more, to be fair. Anything in here? Yeah, no description, but okay. Let's see it in action. And now we're back to normal.
Oh, okay.
So that
Can you go back to that embed point so that I can just take a picture? Can you send me that app?
yes, of course, yeah. It's Clarion 10. This
Yeah.
the embed point, the reason I chose it is, again, just for recording. It doesn't do any harm for people to remember the basics. The initialization process of the controls is always init prepare. Oh, crikey. I'm going to get this right around. Init prepare, init, which is just there, init resize, init template settings, and then init complete. So you are, by the time it gets to this embed point, the init complete, you know it's gone through all of the initialization and the data should be loaded and you should really be good to go.
Okay.
So it's always a very good embed point to start with if you want to, okay, I want it to do all my template settings, but then I want to override one of them, then I would choose this embed point.
Okay, got it.
The next one, if it wasn't this one, would be init template settings, but with an embed, but with a priority of maybe 7,500, 8,000 onwards.
So I would have to change the priority, right?
If you used this one.
Okay. Okay. Now, better off using init complete, right?
Yeah, it's a very good default.
Okay.
So, okay, so that's that one. Now, you said something about the task panel, the auto hide.
Yeah.
What's that one?
Maybe this is a stupid question, sorry, but
Okay.
I want the options to contract automatically, and I don't know where that option is. I see in your example that it does that. I mean,
in which example?
The task panel one.
Okay. Oh, okay, I think I know where you mean. Okay, let me just bring in the task panel example so we know what we're referring to.
Yeah, like when you move away from that option, it kind of contracts and you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, but okay, just let me bring up the dashboard example which we started with earlier. Now, although that's using a property grid, I think are you referring to this? So let's open something. So we've got some data open. So are you referring to like having that as a task panel, but then going back when you finished?
Not quite. It's like well, it's kind of the same effect, but it's like let me go to my sorry, hold on. It's a task panel. It is a task panel.
Yep.
And it has inherits some a menu bar option. So what I want to do is that when I move the mouse cursor away from that option, it contracts. I think I saw that in one of your examples. And then when I move without clicking on certain options, it expands.
Okay.
You know?
I think I know what you mean. So let's just open the example. It's just I know you've got the Formula One testing training application, and that has a task panel which folds back, but it's not the task panel that's truly doing it. It's the docking panes which is truly doing it. So that's why I wouldn't know whether you were referring to that.
Well, I really need to get my hands on that, but I haven't been able to, install it. I sent you an email, so I'm stuck there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let me take a quick look. Make sure I'm not. Sounds like I've missed one. With being a bank holiday here, please let me know when you have a chance to review this. Sorry. Oh, okay, right, yep. So, task panel. So this is what we're talking about. And what do we want to do? We want these to automatically expand and contract. That type of effect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there is an example in here, auto, and I think it's basically when you click on one, it will auto close the others. Not that.
But you have to click on them, right?
You do, but you don't know necessarily. You could actually do it just by hovering in and out. Let me have a look if we've done that on any of the others. One time, no. I thought there was an example what did that. Not one of the settings in here. Do you know, I thought there was an example which did it, if you want the truth. No, not that one. And that's just a standard one. No, that's just runtimes. Ah, that one, the hot.
Is that the one?
Yeah, hot items.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now what that's doing, basically, go back to basics, and you've got these properties: focused item and hot item. Focused is what's currently there on the screen, and the hot, and you could say, oh, they're all the same, is basically without clicking. So I could click there. Focused item is there, but of course the hot is what you're hovering over at any one time.
Okay.
Okay, so I think in that example, let me just take a quick look. But what I do here is, no, it's none of that. Maybe I must have added it to the template itself.
Yeah, I've been looking there.
Image of the text, defaults. Default is expanded or with create. They're just standard defaults. Oh, it's in here. I'm sure it is. Yeah, basically. Okay. So we tell it via the event. So all of the templates, again, support this technology. The whole OCXers post loads of different events back at any one time. Okay. Now, the template won't report them all to you because it only traps what it needs to, and that's it. It does its job. If you want to know about any of the others, and if we open up the help, let's go to the help of this. Bring up, report control is as good as any. We'll bring up the report control, actual control itself. Scroll down, and we can see loads of different events all triggering here. The yellow lightnings are events.
Oh.
Okay, so what you can say is, the track bar, I want to know when this event triggers. So I'm listening for hot item changed. So of course, as I'm going over items, the hot item is changing. So when that changes, I want to know about it. So I've told the template, listen for that event. Then you've got an embed point called event. And that's the embed point where any of the ones which you've told it to listen for will trigger. So we can see here, param event name gets passed in.
Okay.
So I'm saying, okay, if it's hot item changed, then basically I'm just going to do a case on what is the current hot item. And if it's that, I go and set certain groups to expanded, and so they're all contracted and that's expanded. If you go into that, then basically I contract all of those and expand that one, and that's how I'm accomplishing it.
Okay. Okay. But that hot item changed. That's an actual event. It's just not.
if we open up the help of the task panel, so we go to our task panel and we've got our methods, we've got our properties, and down at the bottom are the events. And we can see here that you've got hot item changed. Occurs when a new item becomes hot. So basically you've hovered over it.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
That okay?
I was looking at the wrong place. I wasn't looking at the embed point, so sorry.
Yeah, oh no, it's no problem. It's a good, it's good to cover things like that, especially on the recordings, because it's a little more of an advanced way of using the products. We cover so much, but they're always changing, and there will be the scenario which we've not thought of, and you say we need to know when a user's about to do this or when they started to do that. Well, by giving you that functionality as well, then you can get to anything. You can listen for events, you can get to their raw properties, you can set their raw properties, and you can call their methods. You're never you're never restricted by the version of the template that you're on. You can always still get to all of the other things by calling the more advanced methods.
Right. Okay. Got it, Andy. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. And then, although we're over time, but I think we've got another question here of Jesper, and it's regarding docking panes. So, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. You?
Yes. Busy, but we're always busy.
Andy, I have a problem with docking panes.
Okay.
When the work area when the pictures in the work area is shown, it's not shown in the right place. And I have to touch the split bar between the two dockings for it to jump in the right place. So okay. I don't know what I'm doing.
You just sent me an image. Am I okay to open that image and show it on screen?
Yeah. I'll send it to you.
So we've got this image. Yep. So now you've got this. Where are we looking at?
That's the one jumped in place. I sent you another one.
Oh, did you? Sorry. Oh, you did. Yes. Missed that one. Oh, I prefer the other.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so you're opening it like this, and then it's having to jump into place.
Yeah, I have to touch the split bar before it jumps into place.
Okay, is this a Clarion procedure which is running?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then. Not that I want to particularly break the dashboard app, but that's the closest example we've got here. So let me just open this one which I was mentioning earlier.
The Formula 1 example you sent me, I can't find any difference.
Okay, well what I was thinking is it to do with the type on the window? So let's say the customer dashboard. Okay, so that is this one. Okay, that is a Clarion window running. It happens to have docking in it as well, but that's kind of irrelevant. If we look at that, do you have, first of all, what type of window do you have? Do you have it as a resize window?
Yes.
Can you turn that off? Either make it single or none.
Single or none? Let me see what I have here. There we go. I have it as a single. Single normal.
Oh, single normal. That's okay then. That's okay. Do you have a resizing template on there? Not that you necessarily need it, to be honest.
Yes, I have the standard Windows resizing.
Resize, yeah, that's fine. Okay, well, let's go through your settings then. So, just go back to your image.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got that. So is this how do you have this set up? Is this a main window opened from the application frame?
No, it's a window.
It's a window.
After the.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So it's a window. It's got docking panes on there, and you have a pane to the left and a pane to the right. Is that correct?
But yeah.
Well, should we take a look on your system? Is it okay if we switch to you?
Yeah, that's okay.
That'll be faster. So you should get an option to show your screen.
Is my screen
Okay.
seeing now?
Yep. So first of all have a look at the panes, if you can, please. That's a docking pane, and the other one I take it is a task panel. Perfect.
Task panel, yes.
Yep.
Which one you want to see, the task panel?
Can we have a look at the actions of the panes first, please? Okay, so the panes, navigation, and we'll just go through the tabs. The options, fine, and size and position, fine. Yep, looks good. And I take it for the content, you have the task panel as the content. Yep, fine. That's good. Okay, the next pane. So you've got it as part of a collection. That's good. So on the options, auto hide, don't open. Do you not use the lazy open?
Maybe I should, yes. But this is the working area. Is that there's no?
It's okay. I would still take that. That's fine. And the size and position. Now, yep, that's good. Yep, no, that's no problem. That's good. So you don't need to start it hidden. Visible and the options. Yep, that's good. 850 work. Yep, good. And the content. Okay. And then, yeah, that one. Again, you don't need to start that one hidden. I'm saying you don't have to. I better check mine in a minute, but yes, okay. Okay, all good on those. And okay on that. And then if we can have a look at the actions of the task panel. So in here, you've the groups. And the action of it. Oh, you've got an option, yeah, an item, so yeah. And the action of that item. Select. Was it pant, the other one?
If it was what?
Is that the right name for the docking pane? For the pane?
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Good.
And that's the one that starts up the one I showed you, the
Okay.
picture. You want to go through the others?
No, that's the one. And it was definitely the right name. That's okay.
Yeah.
So okay that for me. And let's save that. And okay that. So now what does it call? Browse Pantbev?
Yeah, that's one.
Okay. The window for that, please. We can just scroll down the right-hand side to just take a quick look at the properties of the window. MDI system. Immediate. Yep, all looks good. And sorry, it's up to the top again. I missed the top one. Oh yeah, that's good. Doesn't have an icon, does it? The window. I think it takes.
No.
I think the thing takes it off anyway. So. Oh yeah,
It takes it off.
Yeah, let's just take that. Let's just remove that though, if we can, please.
Remove it.
Yes, just be on the safe side. And the extensions. The win event. You can go to win event and settings. Only make visible when the window opens. Untick that.
Click it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Should I try and run it? Compile and run it?
Please, yes.
If it's that simple. You did it. That's it. That's the way. There was the win event doing it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I know that because he does it on mine.
Okay.
No.
Thank you a lot, Andy.
No
Make
problem.
my day.
No problem. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Okay, and I think we are more or less up. Let me just bring that. I'll bring myself back to presenter. So yes, basically, I think we are done. Any other questions before we call it a day? No. Okay, then. For those who miss the start of the, just let me. For those who miss the start of the webinar, this is basically a dashboard type app, example application that we will be basically putting some more meaningful data to and so on, and then basically putting it part of the installers so you can have a play and see what you think of it. And by all means, use it. You bring it into your applications. Feel free to import it. It'll be queue driven, so it won't be bound to any particular tables. So you can manipulate it to your heart's content, and feel free to include it as part of your applications and make use of it, and so on and so forth. Got absolutely no problem on that whatsoever. Any other feedback or any ideas you've got on these things, by all means, contact us and we'll get them in there and so on. And then just a quick reminder that the next two webinars, basically I don't know if you guys still want to hold one, John. If you still want to actually hold one and so on and so forth, but I won't be available. I'm on vacation next week, and sorry, next week, and the Monday after is when I'm physically travelling back. So I should probably be about 37,000 feet, so it'll be hard to get a Wi-Fi signal. I'll be honest. So until let's just take a look at the dates. Wow, until the 30th, I shall say goodbye, and I'll see you then.
Bye, Andy.
Okay, cheers, bye.